Hey everyone, today I'm looking at the Junior 1 and Young Beginner chords and how we can practice them and get some really cool sounds from them. So the chords for both levels are exactly the same, so I will get them up on the screen so we can make triple sure we understand how to read the chord boxes, and also we can have a look at how we can turn them into very cool sounding things. There we go. So here we have our chord boxes. So this is the start of us trying to see how we can learn these chords. So we have 6 strings on the guitar. The one that's closest to us, the thickest and the lowest in pitch, that's string number 6. And then the one that's closest to our feet and the highest in pitch, the thinnest string, that's string number 1. Yeah, so we have 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so here we have these 3 red lines and these 3 blue lines. So the red lines, this one on the end here, that represents string number 6, and this thin one represents string number 1. So these are the strings on our guitar. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So with these lines, they're coloured in a certain way. So if you look at your guitar, on most guitars, your strings 6, 5, and 4 will be a kind of bronzy type colour or a brass colour, yeah. And then your strings 3, 2, and 1 will either be kind of metal or a very clear sort of thing. So that's the reason why they're coloured in the way they are. Yeah. So these X's, these mean don't play the strings, and these O's or circles mean play the open strings. Yeah. So for E minor, it's saying that all we're doing is we're playing 3 strings, and that's string 3, 2, and 1. Yeah. And so we're just playing those 3 strings all together. So now when we have this blob here, and there's a number inside it, the number doesn't tell us what fret to play, it's telling us what finger to use. And for us, our thumb, we just call that T. Our index finger is finger 1, middle is finger 2, our ring is finger 3, and our pinky is finger 4. So here it's telling us to use our first finger, and we can see that these are our frets going across, so they line up with the guitar. So that's fret number 1, this is fret number 2, this is fret number 3. So it's telling us to press our first finger on fret 1 of string 1, and we're going to strum strings 3, 2, and 1 again. So we get this sound. And that's our G7 chord. Yeah, and we go through all of them like this. So to get a really good sound when we're pressing our fingers down, I look for a couple of things. One, that I've got 2 bends, one in each joint of the finger, so one here and one here. And then I use my fingertip to press the string down. So what we're doing, we're trying to trap the string against the wood on the fretboard behind it. Yeah, and it's much easier to do if I'm coming up and on top of the string like that, and I'm using my fingertip. Because if your finger is flat like that, you have to press a lot harder, and you really can't get as good a sound as when you've got your finger coming up and on top of the string. Yeah. The other thing you'll notice, I've got my finger really close to the metal bit, the fret wire there. Yeah, so I'm not touching it, but I'm very close to it because that's probably the easiest place to press it down. So if I play it here, it sounds really nice. If I was to play it towards the top, it's very hard to get a good sound. And it's the same kind of principle for every fret. Yeah, and we want to make sure we're not touching the metal bit because we get this sound as well. Instead of, it's very muffled. Yeah, so when we're doing this, we also want to make sure that our finger is kind of coming on this side rather than kind of on top and our thumb being somewhere where we don't want it to be. Yeah, so that's kind of the best place to press it. So looking at all these chords now, you should, in theory, be able to now read them. So that's 3rd fret, 3rd finger on string 1, 1st fret, 1st finger on string 2. Yeah, we have the G chord now as well, and we have a C chord. Yeah, so first things first, we want to get used to moving between them. So E minor to G7 to G, and then to C. And we can change the order, so we could do it backwards. C, G, G7, and E minor, just getting used to moving between them. Yeah. So if we're struggling with this, that's absolutely normal. The first thing we can do, we can swap every chord that we've learned with an E minor first. So we can do G7 to E minor and back again. And then same again with G. And then lastly the same with C. So we're we're getting used to taking our fingers on and off the guitar here. So once we've done that, you might want to try a couple of different ones, maybe just 2 chords going between G and G7. So we're getting used to moving our fingers from finger 3 for the G and finger 1 for the G7. Yeah. So the next thing and the last thing that I'd like you guys to practice, when we're doing this, rather than strumming them, I want to pick out the strings one at a time with our chords pressed down. Yeah, so this is what we call an arpeggio, where we play the notes of a chord, but one at a time. So I'm going to use a set picking pattern. Yeah, so I'm going to go, so this is with an E minor with no fingers on. I'm going to play strings 3, 2, 1, and 2. So that's string 3, 2, 1, 2. So once we get comfortable with that, we can try it with a different chord on. So I'm going to use a G chord now. I'm going to pick the exact same strings 3, 2, 1, 2. Yeah. Once we can do that and it sounds good, we'll try a G7. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. And maybe a C chord. So it's all the same. So everything that we're doing here, we're using the exact same picking pattern. And we want to get really, really used to this, because when we play as a strum, it's really difficult to hear if we've got any notes that don't, or strings that don't sound very good. So the one that you might find, or is really common, is either this G7, and we might get that sound, which is hard to hear if we're strumming, but if we're picking, we know it straight away. Yeah. And sometimes with the C chord as well, if we've not got our finger, if we've not got those 2 bends in, our finger might be a bit flat, and we might have that sound. So we want to make sure we've got. Yeah. So once we practice this and we've got really nice sounding chords, and we can do exactly what we were doing with our chords when we were strumming them, but with our arpeggios now. So we can go from G to G7 maybe. Yeah, try some other ones, G7 to C maybe. These arpeggios are absolutely fantastic because, one, it makes sure that our chords sound really, really nice, and there's no kind of weird, mysterious kind of muting things going on there. And the other thing, it sounds really, really musical, and it's a great way to start actually making some very, very cool sounds on the guitar from really early on. Yeah, and we're starting to combine our picking hand with our left hand as well, or unless you're left-handed, then I'll pick in hand with our right hand. But have fun with it. Take your time and really, really focus on getting some really nice, clear sounds. And I hope this helps. And enjoy. Have fun.